But without further ado, allow me please to introduce Stewart Swerdlow. Stewart is a gifted hyperspace intuitive. Swerdlow moves his consciousness beyond time and space to determine your foundational mind pattern upon which all your life experiences are based on. His great-uncle, Yakov Sverdlov, was the first president of the Soviet Union. And of course, many of you know Stewart from him blowing the whistle on the Montauk Project. Another very brave whistleblower who has seen it all, literally. Ladies and gentlemen, Stewart Swerdlow.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long day. I got up at 4 a.m. to get here, and of course my flight was delayed. Every time I go to a conference, there is some kind of a sabotage, whether it's a blizzard or flight cancellation, but I made it anyway. So, I have a lot of interesting information to give you today. Information that I have not done outside of my immediate group of people from my website. Some of it might be a little bit outrageous to you, but as you know, I am not politically correct. And I never will be. And I also have a very strange sense of humor, so you will have to bear with me on that as well. And as was mentioned, yes, my family history is a bit sordid. My great-uncle Yakov, yes, he was the first president of the Soviet Union. His brother Benjamin Sverdlov started mind control and programming in the Soviet Union in the 1930s, and that is why, because of that background, I was taken here in the United States to be used in the Montauk Project. My grandmother was a Soviet spy, so you're getting the image, yes, of especially why my family here in the United States was very much monitored by the U.S. government, and why I was taken into service in Montauk Point. Another interesting fact, which I never really talk about too much because it is politically incorrect, is that my first cousin once removed, Alexei Sverdlov, who was the son of Yakov, actually started KGB. And so this also led me, wherever I go, to be followed by them. Especially in Russia, Eastern Europe, and so forth. And so, but I do get a lot of good information from them. So, and they have many times asked me to come back to Russia. Maybe I will someday, but I don't think I'll do it right now. But, you see up there on the screen the word Kuiper Belt, and I am not sure if many of you are familiar with that term. If you look at this picture in the image, and hopefully you can see it clearly enough, you will see that the Kuiper Belt is basically a region which surrounds our solar system, and that is the reason why the planet Pluto several years ago was reclassified to either a Kuiper Belt object or a planetoid. Now, if you look at this map, you will also see that Neptune is at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. So why wasn't Neptune reclassified as such an object? You may recall, those of you who read my website for several years, that back in 2007, 8, etc., 9, NASA was reporting objects appearing in this Kuiper Belt region that looked strange to them. And almost every week there would be 2 or 3 different objects that would be appearing. When it became very suspicious and people were questioning the news and asking why and what are these objects, that is when they reclassified Pluto as a cover to say, well, these objects were always there, we just didn't know they were there. But I will tell you that the Kuiper Belt right now is amassing a very large fleet of objects that are not necessarily from our space-time. And when I say that, you may recall also NASA reporting for the last couple of years large objects emerging from our sun and then moving out towards what is the Kuiper Belt. And so we know from close-up observation and digital analysis that these objects that came from the sun were artificial. In some cases, you can even see windows, you can even see equipment on these vehicles. And they're huge. Some of them are almost the size of our planet. If you learn about interdimensional science and about galactic work, you will know that a black hole in one universe is a star in another universe, and vice versa. This is how energy is exchanged between universes, and energy is balanced throughout creation. And you can learn more about this in my simultaneous existence work. So these objects that are coming in or passing out through the sun, these are actually going through a vortex, if you will, a black hole in one universe coming in through our sun here. Now, there's something else you should know about the sun, because people think, well, is the sun so hot? Wouldn't that burn up the objects? And the answer to that is the sun is actually not hot. And I know that sounds loony-toony to you, but it's cold fusion. Think about something. I'm sure many of you have gone in an airplane, yes? And it could be very hot on the surface of the ground, and then you take off. And if you look at the monitor, you can see, especially on international flights, they do this. As soon as you go into the atmosphere, it's way below zero, 50, 60, 70 below zero. Now think about it. You're going up, literally, closer to the sun. Why does it get colder? Shouldn't it get hot? And if the sun is hot, shouldn't space, interstellar space and the solar system space, shouldn't be warm out in space? But yet it's hundreds of degrees below zero. Why? Because it is not hot. The sun is not hot. It's just light. And what creates the heat on the Earth is our atmosphere and the light refracting through the atmosphere and then reflecting off the surface of the planet, which is why it's only warm at the surface. And as higher you go, it gets colder. So keep that in mind. And what you learned about Mars, about Venus, all these planets is not true. Mars has an atmosphere. It did have oceans. There are plant life growing there, animal life growing there. And little by little, you will be informed of this, although maybe not in the proper manner. But let me go on, because I have a lot to tell you today. And I will, tomorrow, at the question session, you can ask me whatever you like. And hopefully I will work this correctly. And I did not. No? It's not working. No? Not working. No? It's too far. There it is.
Okay.
So what did you have?
Well, it should be working now. I think what was happening is something else. Okay, you should be good now.
Okay. Yeah. So beyond the Kuiper Belt is the Oort cloud. And this is another region of space that you can see from this, diagram here that extends even further out from our solar system. What we have learned, I should say what the government has learned from certain alien groups, and I will get to that in a bit, is that our solar system is not configured the way we have been taught. That there are actually 13 planets in our extended solar system that goes into the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud. And we have learned that sometimes planets, or what they call rogue planets, which are not associated with a star, can actually have its own ecosystem, atmosphere, and light source without the need of a star or to be close to a star. And this also exists out there in the Oort cloud. And these are some of what they call trans-Neptunian objects. There's many, many of them, most classified as planetoids. I'll just go quickly through this. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you, the wormholes and vortices. And there's a difference. People misuse the term. There's a difference between a wormhole and a vortex. A wormhole is a shortcut between point A and B in the same physical environment or space. A vortex is a shortcut between point A and B between two different dimensions or parallel universes. So when we discuss about wormholes and vortices, this is what I mean. And by the way, the plural of vortex is not vortexes, it's vortices. Now, you will be interested to know that there is a vortex between our sun and the Earth, as you can see from this diagram here, so that technically, if you aim a spaceship at a certain point in space towards the sun, and you enter into this magnetic field vortex, you will go into another time space. And that is how many vehicles travel here from great distances. Science will tell you now that it's impossible for alien beings from other universes or galaxies or even other solar systems to come here because of the vast distances. But that's because they don't know about the technology, or at least they don't want you to know about the technology. I'm going to tell you a secret we learned from Montauk Point. Every point in time and space has a unique frequency or set of coordinates. It's unique in all of existence. If you take an object or person, place, or thing, and you vibrate it to a specific frequency of where you want to go, and it matches, there will be instantaneous connection. No time passes, because no two points can have the same frequency. And if you match a frequency, instantly it goes to that point. That is how time travel is created and how vast distances between galaxies is traversed in a matter of seconds. I talked to you about the emerging objects from the sun. And by the way, here's an experiment. And it's not, I don't know if you can see it clearly. It doesn't look clear from me here. But the gold star tetrahedron, if you can see it up there on the screen. If you want to view what is going on in the Kuiper Belt, visualize that gold star tetrahedron at your pineal gland at the center of your head. In fact, make the star tetrahedron become the pineal gland, and you will be able to see or view into the Kuiper Belt. And that's an experiment that you can try for yourself. Now, let's talk about aliens. And I really wanted to call this lecture the Alien Agenda, because I'm going to tell you, and those of you who know my work are maybe familiar with this, but there will be, in my opinion, before the end of this year, a staged alien invasion. This is not a new agenda. This actually was created by the Germans in World War II. Hitler decided that in order to scare all the other countries into acquiescing to his dominion, that he would create a staged alien invasion so that all of the world would think that we are being attacked from outside, and then they would unite because only the Germans would have the weapons to defend against these attackers. And so when Wernher von Braun was brought to the United States under Project Paperclip after World War II, he continued this experiment. And NASA was created as a cover for the real space projects that were being used by United States and Soviet Union. And you may recall that the Soviet Union was actually the first country to put an object in outer space.